Imagine standing on the deck of a wooden ship in the middle of the night. The year is 678 AD. You are a sailor in the mighty Arab fleet, besieging the city of Constantinople. You are winning. The Roman Empire is about to fall. But then, a small, strange ship approaches from the city walls. It has no archers, no soldiers boarding you, just a bronze lion's head mounted on the prow. Suddenly, a roar like thunder shakes the water. A jet of liquid fire bursts from the lion's mouth. But this isn't normal fire. It clings to your ship like glue. You throw water on it to put it out, but the water makes it burn hotter. The sea itself catches fire around you. Even the sand on the beach is burning. This wasn't magic. It was science, a weapon so advanced it saved the Byzantine Empire for 500 years. They called it sea fire. History calls it Greek fire. But here is the twist. Despite all our modern chemistry, all our satellites, and all our knowledge, we still have absolutely no idea how they made it. The formula wasn't just lost, it was erased. Welcome to Era by Era. Today, we are hunting for the ultimate lost formula. To understand why this weapon was such a big deal, you have to understand how desperate the situation was. In the 7th century, the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, was crumbling. The armies of the Caliphate had swept across the world. They had taken Egypt, they had taken Syria, and now they had the capital, Constantinople, in a chokehold. If Constantinople fell, the gateway to Europe would be open. History as we know it would be completely different. The Romans needed a miracle, and they got one from a refugee. His name was Kallinikos. He was an architect and chemist from Heliopolis who fled to Constantinople. He didn't come with an army, he came with a recipe. He approached the emperor, Constantine IV, and claimed he had invented a liquid fire that could destroy the enemy fleet. Now, fire weapons existed before this. People had used burning oil or pitch, but Kallinikos had invented something else. A complex chemical compound that acted almost like a living thing. The emperor gave him the funding. They outfitted a fleet of fast ships called dromons with bronze tubes and siphons. They sailed out to meet the massive enemy fleet. It was a massacre. The enemy ships didn't just sink, they melted. The siege was broken. The empire was saved. But the mystery was just beginning. Here is where it gets interesting for those of us who love ancient technology. We often think of Greek fire as just a Molotov cocktail, a jar you throw. And yes, they did use hand grenades made of clay. But the real terror was the delivery system. This wasn't just a liquid you poured out of a bucket. Based on the few descriptions we have, this was a high-pressure hydraulic system. Think about that. High-pressure hydraulics in the Dark Ages? The Byzantines built complex pumps that used air pressure to force the liquid through bronze tubes. At the tip of the tube, there was a brazier burning a flame. As the pressurized liquid shot out, it passed through the flame, ignited instantly, and became a jet of fire. It was a medieval flamethrower. Historians tell us the noise was terrifying. It sounded like a wild beast roaring. The range was significant, and the liquid was sticky. If it touched your clothes, you couldn't wipe it off. If you jumped into the sea to escape, the fire would continue to burn on top of the waves. It was psychological warfare. The enemy eventually became so terrified of Greek fire that they would turn their ships around the moment they saw a Byzantine vessel equipped with the tubes. But the most incredible piece of engineering wasn't the pump, it was the chemistry. So, what was in it? This is where the story turns into a spy thriller. The Byzantine emperors knew they had a superweapon. They knew that if their enemies, or even their own generals, figured out how to make it, the empire would be doomed. So they created the strictest classification system in human history. The formula was a state secret, but not just a legal secret, it was a religious one. Emperor Constantine Porphyrogenitus wrote that the formula was given to the first Christian emperor by an angel of the Lord. He placed a curse on the recipe. Anyone who dared to write it down or give it to a foreigner would be struck down by lightning and erased from the book of life. And it worked. The warnings were so terrifying that the recipe was never written down in a single document. They used compartmentalization, a technique modern intelligence agencies like the CIA use today. One family knew how to mix the first part. Another family knew how to mix the second. The engineers who built the pumps didn't know the chemistry. The chemists didn't know how to build the pumps. Only the emperor and a select few knew the whole process. But this extreme secrecy backfired. Because they kept it so secret, they eventually forgot it themselves. As the centuries passed, the empire weakened. The specific families who held the secrets died out. The supply chains for the rare ingredients were cut off. By the time the Fourth Crusade sacked Constantinople in 1204, Greek fire was gone. The secret had died with its keepers. So, fast forward to today, we have nuclear physics and quantum computing. Surely we can figure out what was in a clay pot from the year 600. Well, scientists have tried, and every time they get close, they hit a wall. Here are the three main theories. Theory number 1, naphtha. This is a form of light crude oil found in the Middle East. It's flammable and liquid, but naphtha doesn't self-ignite, and it doesn't burn well on water. It floats, but waves can put it out. Theory number 2, quicklime. This is the favorite theory of many chemists. Quicklime is calcium oxide. When it touches water, a violent chemical reaction occurs that creates intense heat, enough heat to start a fire. This explains why the fire burned on water. The water was actually the trigger. However, experiments show that quicklime doesn't explode with enough force to project a jet of fire. Theory number 3, the cocktail. The most likely answer is that it was a complex mixture of everything. Naphtha for the fuel, quicklime for the ignition, sulfur for the smoke, and resins like pine tar to make it sticky. But here is the problem. Even when modern chemists mix these ingredients in a lab, they can't recreate the thunderous roar or the range described in the ancient texts. We are missing a catalyst. We are missing the specific refining process. Or perhaps we are missing an ingredient that has gone extinct. In the end, Greek fire remains one of history's greatest OOPTs, out-of-place artifacts. It was a technology that shouldn't have existed when it did. It held back the tide of history for centuries. And then, because of paranoia and secrecy, it vanished into the smoke. It makes you wonder, what technologies do we have today that are so secret they might be lost to the next generation? What do you think was the secret ingredient? Was it primitive gunpowder or something we haven't discovered yet? Let me know your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into lost technology, you need to watch my video on Did They Melt Stone next. It explores how ancient builders might have softened rock to build their impossible walls. I'm Era by Era. History is full of mysteries, and we're just getting started. I'll see you